No, this way.
This way?
Not that
No, wait.
hard.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hello.
Dr. Ken and Nurse Nisha here with you for our weekly Monday Night Live. We do this every Monday night at 7 p.m. no matter where in the world we are.
Except for it's 8 p.m.
Except for it's 8 p.m. because
Today.
we're late. Yeah, just this one time. Yeah.
Well, every now.
It's totally her fault. She was driving.
If it wasn't up to me, you would forget that it was Monday.
No.
Yes.
I would not forget that probably. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Mostly not. Hey guys, join us. We are in Pensacola Beach. Well, Navarre
we're
Beach.
in Navarre.
Navarre Beach.
It's Navarre, not Navarre.
It's got an E at the end.
It's a
Navarre.
silent E.
Navarre.
No.
No?
Just Navarre.
Just Navarre.
Yeah.
We're at Navarre Beach, which is very near Pensacola Beach in Florida, in the United States. We're hanging out with some of the Berry girls. Madison couldn't come. She's doing a summer gig. But we have Abby Grace and Morgan, and we have Baby Berry in tow. And we wanted to join you guys for a few minutes this evening and see what's going on and see what you're up to. See if you have any questions, etc. Yeah?
Yeah.
So if you're new to this live, please type new in the comments so we can welcome you.
Look, I gotta fix this.
Okay,
because
fix it. Do what you need to do.
Why is
woman.
it way over
What do
here?
I didn't touch it. You did it.
No, I did not.
Now
That's
I feel like.
better.
Is that better?
Yes. Before, it was like you were close and I was far away.
All right. We're here. We got it together. We're on the ball.
Okay.
Right?
It's good. It's fine.
So we just had a bunch of crab legs at, where did we go? Hooters? Yeah.
And we went to Hooters because we went to Peg Leg Peak Saturday and had to wait a long time. Even though it's Monday, we wouldn't have had to wait. We went to Hooters. I don't know what. Anyways.
Rhett Butler and Toto came to the beach with us. You should see Rhett in the waves. It's the funniest thing in the world.
It's pretty funny.
It's pretty fun.
He thinks I'm dying if I go in without him, and so he'll chase me into the waves,
And then he freaks out.
and then he freaks out.
And he
'cause
runs
he's like,
back.
this is too much.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
We're not actually pink. I don't know why it's making us look. Well, you're a little pink.
A little bit, yeah.
But
I'm not
that's kinda-
burned, but I'm
that's kind of
probably
his
a little,
skin color.
I'm a little pink,
Yeah, but this
which
is
is
really
a
making
shade
us.
of red.
It's making us look way.
Yeah, we don't have our
we-
normal white. It's
Yeah.
messing us up. Yeah, we're not burned, I promise. So what are we going to talk about tonight?
I have no idea.
Oh, as always, you have our permission to share this. If you'd like to share it on your page, your profile, or in your groups, you can do that. We're totally fine with that. We always like to help as many people as possible, and you sharing helps us do that. Yes, I am a redneck. Whoever asked that. I'm proud of it most of the time. So, first of all, let me say, while Nisha's getting a pillow to sit on, not because she's petite or anything, she just needs a pillow.
That's so
There you
much
go.
better.
Look at that. That is it. There's Toto Berry. Oh, you gonna show up on camera? Yeah, watch it. He gets mad at
No,
Rhett.
no, we're not gonna do this.
Just for
right
a second. It's so funny. Just a little bit. Watch him get mad. He'd be like, "I'm gonna kill you." No, he don't want to. Okay. All right.
now. Oh, wow.
Right in the mouth.
That was nice.
I love it. I love it. So first of all, before we do anything, let me say a big thank you to our supporters and our patrons. Without you guys, we would not be able to do lives like this from wherever we are. And we thank you and appreciate that so much. So thank you for being a supporter or being a patron. Now, what do you want to talk about, woman? Or you just want to answer some questions?
Let's answer some questions. yeah.
Let's do it, yeah. So if you guys have any questions about keto, about low carb, about avocados, about carnivore, about exogenous ketones, ask away. We're here. We're here for the next half hour or so.
Michelle's at Wikiwachi. That's where the mermaids are.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna come
That's,
to
you wanted to
Wikiwachi.
go there, didn't
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
Gender reveal is not tonight for everyone. It's tomorrow for our patrons and supporters because they
Yeah.
have a private group, and
Yeah.
since they're
And so
supporters, they get to know first.
we do this live every Monday night, but we have an extra live for the supporters and the patrons every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. And so we're going to do the gender reveal tomorrow night for our supporters and our patrons. And then the next Monday, everybody gets to know. How's that? Because they are part of our keto fam. They hang with us and they help us. And so they get to know first. Yeah?
Sure.
Yeah. Hey, Toadie, what are you doing?
Where are you staying that allows dogs? We are at an Airbnb, and it's pet friendly. We had to pay a little bit extra because they're here, but not an astronomical amount.
Yeah.
Just for like extra cleaning, just in case.
Yeah, just in case Toto gets nervous bowels, which happens from time to time.
Usually he pukes. He doesn't get diarrhea.
He's like, he'll get nervous and he'll be like, and just throw up, and then he's fine. I don't know. Yeah, it's creepy. So what's going on? Any questions, guys?
Should you be fasting for 12 hours before a lipid panel?
Yeah, you want to fast for about 12 hours. That's the ideal sweet spot to fast before you get lab work in general. And it's not necessarily going to make your labs better or worse, but it's kind of the benchmark that all doctors base all of our decisions on. And so if you eat right before, or you haven't eaten in 3 days, that's going to make some of your lab values different, and that could make your doctor wind up being confused as to why this is that or that's the other. So yeah, about 12 hours is what you need. It doesn't have to be to the minute, just roughly 12 hours. Yeah.
Do you keto Puerto Rican food? I have.
You can try. You can try.
It's very hard because most of the things that make Puerto Rican food are starchy things like
beans and rice.
Plantains
Rice and beans.
And rice, and it's
plantains
and sofrito. If you the
Oh.
seasoning, if you can put it's just not the same. It's very hard.
Yeah, it's really hard to.
But I'm working on it. When I perfect it, I'll let you know. So
If you
far,
could-
it's like
If you could perfect truly low carb Puerto Rican cuisine,
that'd be great. But
that'd be the best.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to do though. They love their carbs.
Does coffee affect lab values?
Maybe a little bit. Coffee might affect your triglycerides a little bit. In some people who are very insulin resistant, it may even affect your fasting insulin a little bit, right? And so many of these things we don't know, because all of the research over the last 50 years has been done trying to make $1 billion pill. They haven't actually been researching important questions like, is it okay to drink coffee before my lab work? Most doctors will say, yes, you can have black coffee, but the honest truth is we don't know what that does to your lab values because it's never been studied, but it should be. But it's probably fine to have black coffee before your lab work.
Someone's doing a Prove It reboot and struggling
Yeah.
because, hang on, she's hungry. Don't do that.
Yeah, Prove It's a waste of money.
Don't do that.
Go ahead and use up what you've got, but I wouldn't waste any more money
If
on
you're
it.
hungry, you're doing it. You're doing keto wrong. You should not be hungry.
If you eat enough fat and enough protein, you're going to be full. It's got to be real food, though. You can drink a shake or a drink. That's not the same thing as chewing and swallowing and digesting real food.
If you're hungry, eat a ribeye.
Eat a ribeye.
It's not going to hurt you.
Yeah,
Ribeye's your
it's
friend.
good for you. It's your good friend.
We have teenagers here, by the way, so if you hear a ruckus, that's what it is.
That was not an earthquake. That was a teenager.
Abby Grace got burnt.
Oh.
Oh, we had to go get her some. Okay, hi.
Hi,
Some
Toby.
aloe vera with some lidocaine spray. She's a lobster.
She is not feeling.
She was like, I'm
good
gonna
right
stay out
now.
there all day until I get tan.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us. If this is your first time joining us, you're like, hey, who are these people? Who are you?
I am Nurse Nisha.
And so what are you and why should we care what you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you care, but
I asked that I'd say that to everybody. Not just you.
I am a RN. I started off as a CNA when I was 19. Then I got my LPN. Then for 7 years, I worked as an LPN in many different areas, including geriatrics, dermatology, rheumatology. I worked at a prison, and then I went back to school and got my RN and did labor and delivery up until about a year ago when I went. I got laid off because my hospital went. Because it's in a rural area, and we decided we were going to do IVF, and so I stayed home and I managed this crazy son of a gun over here.
And I'm Dr. Berry. I'm a board certified family physician. I've been practicing medicine for almost 20 years and in a small, very small clinic in rural Tennessee. That's a hard word for
Rural
redneck
Tennessee.
to say.
Well, we don't
Rural.
really have a clinic. We have a space.
Yeah, now we have an empty building that burned down.
Yeah.
But the insurance company's moving forward. I don't think they're dragging their feet. I think they're doing their
this
job.
is just normal.
It just takes a long time to count all the beans and to do everything that has to be done. And so we're trying to be patient, and we're trying to breathe and let it go and give it to somebody and just enjoy our family and enjoy our time together without me having to go to the office every day. But sometimes it drives me a little nuts, I'll be honest.
But we're actually in our busy season where we do a lot of like keto conventions and KetoCon and Keto Fest and the low carb cruise and all this stuff. So we're staying busy.
And we're actually in Pensacola.
Yes, for a book signing.
To do a book signing.
At the Barnes & Noble in Pensacola, Florida, which is, I guess, about 40 minutes from us.
Is that far?
It's in downtown Pensacola. It's not at the beach.
Okay, gotcha. So we'll be there when?
Thursday, the 23rd at 7 p.m.
Nice. Well done.
Yeah.
I totally wouldn't have known that answer. So, and you don't have to buy anything. If you already have your book, you can bring it. I'll sign it. If you don't have a book and can't afford a book, come see me. I'll sign your baby or something. It's fine.
Or your Salt Life Pfizer.
I'll sign your Salt Life Pfizer or a pack of bacon or some meat skins. It doesn't matter.
That would be
I'm going to have my Sharpie. We'll travel.
That would be interesting if you
Right? Sign their bag of meat skins. That'd be hilarious.
Somebody said put lavender on the sunburn.
We are.
Well, she won't hardly let me. She hates the smell of lavender, but I told her it doesn't matter what it smells like. It matters that you're miserable.
We'll hold her down and do it later.
Yeah.
We got some lidocaine and then the lavender.
I brought Lavaderm and After Sun lavender spray and then a bottle of lavender too because I always take lavender when we go to the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not sunburned, but it looks like.
Yeah, we have bad light here.
But I have on pink too. Like I should have worn a different color.
I think that's reflecting
It
off me.
reflects.
Yeah.
I see it
Oh,
on
yeah,
the
you look
inside.
so much better now. I don't think that
This
would
is
help
really-
me though.
I love this shirt. Anyway, this is what he's wearing to the book signing.
So, any questions? You see any good questions?
Oh, let me.
Okay, yeah.
get
Look
over
for
here.
some questions.
Can drinking coffee with heavy whipping cream alter my lipid panel?
Maybe a little bit, but not much, because your total cholesterol and your LDL-C, which is what your doctor is probably going to care about, they actually change from minute to minute. Most doctors don't know that yet, and I wouldn't know it if it weren't for Dave Feldman. He's actually done the experiments on himself, and he can raise or lower his total cholesterol or his LDL cholesterol by 20, 30, 50 points in a day or two. And so we didn't know that. I 10 years ago, back in 03 or 04, I would think if your total cholesterol was 205 or 210, that's just what it was. I didn't realize it changed from minute to minute based on not only what you eat, but if you're sick, if you're well, if you're under stress, all those things make your total cholesterol and LDL and all your other labs go up and down constantly. They're constantly changing. And so when you get labs at your doctor's office, you need to understand, and your doctor also definitely needs to understand, but he or she may not. That's just a ballpark figure. That number could change in 30 minutes. It could be a different number, okay? And so what you're looking at is a range. So if your total cholesterol is 200 when they check it, then it's averaging somewhere between 180 and 220. And you just happen to catch it at 220. Does that make sense? Most of your labs do that. Now, some of your labs, like potassium and magnesium, are very tightly controlled. And so they may only go up or down by 1/10 of a point from day to day. But then some of your other labs can go up 10 to 50 or down 10 to 50 points a day.
Is there a protein limit on carnivore?
No.
Hang on, I've got to get a bottle of water. I'll be right back.
Okay. The beautiful thing about carnivore that I love, one of the many things I love so much about it is you don't have to count macros. Because if you're eating what is essentially a zero carbohydrate diet, then you don't have to worry about how much protein or fat you eat. You just eat fatty meat until you're done. So you can eat ground beef, you can eat bacon, you can eat lamb, you can eat ribeye, you can eat sirloin if you want to. I don't know why you would. You can eat pork belly, you can eat goat, you can eat chicken legs and chicken thighs with the skin on. You can eat all the eggs you want. You can eat, most people can eat real full fat cheese. And then you can put butter on everything. And you don't have to count your protein and fat because of the zero carb or very, very low carb. You're going to turn off your hunger when you're full. You're gonna hit your leptin and your ghrelin and your protein YY and just turn off your hunger. And when you're full, and that's it. You're done. Whereas with carbs, they can trick you sometimes.
I don't know how many people have been like, "Thank you for sharing him falling." If you don't follow me on Instagram, you missed it. But
That
if
is
you
not
do,
funny.
You got to see Dr. Berry wipe out.
Yeah. I was out there with the teenagers boogie boarding, right? And so, I mean, I was doing good too, buddy. I was catching waves. And the one time she's going to video me, a wave hits me and I step on a shell and just go down like a sack of...
It was like slow-mo though. It was like...
I was just like, I was trying hard not to fall. But I just went down.
It was hilarious, but yeah,
And
you're
she got
welcome
it on
for that.
video on her Instagram. So.
Jordan, hey Joe. She says, "What's it like being pregnant at the beach?" It sucks because I look.
Why? Why does it suck?
Because I'm not at that like cute pregnant phase where it's obvious I'm pregnant. It's just like, oh, she needs to do keto.
She just fat.
Yeah, and it's all it's just gut. It's weird, and I can't like be boogie boarding and commit and like actually boogie board like I would normally do because I boogie board like I take a wave and I don't care about getting shells all in my skin. I don't care, but I'm obviously not doing that right
back
now.
it up a little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. Got to
So-
think about the baby.
But I'm getting lots of vitamin D for this kid, so.
Yeah, you're getting your vitamin D, no doubt.
And iodine from all the shellfish I'm eating.
That's right. We're eating shellfish every day, getting our iodine. Yep. And we forgot our Lugol's, and so we just thought, well, we'll just eat seafood every day.
Yeah, he
It'll
was
be
like, we
fine.
didn't bring the iodine. I was like, yeah, we're eating seafood every day, though, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Can high protein kick you out of ketosis?
If you're eating a high carbohydrate diet, then eating protein may raise your insulin even more. But if you're eating a very, very low carbohydrate diet, under 20 total grams or less, you're not going to eat enough protein to make your liver start making glucose or to meaningfully raise your insulin. Now, it is going to elevate your insulin, but it's not going to raise it a meaningful amount. Carbohydrates do that.
Hello, Cindy Anderson. I read menthol shaving cream is good for sunburn just because the menthol in it. What we got is lidocaine, so it's better than.
I heard that toothpaste was good for sunburn one time, and I put it on.
I bet
thought
that
I was
burned-
going to die.
Yeah.
Thought I was
Who
gonna
told
die.
you that? They didn't like you very much.
I don't know. I was in high school. I think one of the cafeteria women told me that. And like I say in the book, right? She's got no fiduciary duty to be right.
Like, go throw some
I heard
toothpaste on it.
toothpaste is good for that. I was like, I'll try it. Don't do that.
What is a good treatment for achalasia?
That's gonna vary. You just need to talk to your doctor about that one.
Sirloin is cheaper. If you cook in butter, can you get the same benefits?
Yeah, you want to, and so 2 hacks. If you can only afford sirloin or something lean like that, that's totally fine. You can still do carnivore, but you're either going to put some raw egg yolks on top of it, which is I'll do that on my ribeye, or you can put a big hunk of butter, and then also you can cook it in bacon grease.
But you also need to get collagen from somewhere because you're not going to get it from sirloin.
Yeah, there won't be as much collagen there. So make some bone broth. Save all your chicken bones. Save any bone that you have during the week. Save it in a Ziploc bag in the fridge. And then every Saturday, Sunday, whenever's bone broth day, make some bone broth. That way you get the collagen.
Is it okay to do pork on carnivore?
Sure. Yeah. Some people do tons of pork on carnivore. I eat some bacon, but I don't eat much pork other than that. It makes me feel kind of droopy if I eat too much pork, like ham or pork chops.
I just don't like that
it.
type.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat bacon and pork belly, but I'm
Pork
chops and stuff
bacon
like
and
that.
pork belly, I feel
and
great.
Sausage, like fresh.
Yeah.
sausage.
I think pork chops and ham are just too lean.
I just don't like the flavor.
Yeah,
but
I don't like it.
They're
It's
pretty
chewy. I don't. Yeah, but you can. I
There's
think
a
it's
reason
fine.
why the ham needs to be honey baked. Because it
That's
doesn't
right.
taste that good.
Yeah, it didn't taste that good to start with.
Doc, we have heard you explain why drinking artificial sweeteners, even the keto endorsed ones, trigger insulin release by the body. My question is, has anyone quantified this?
No.
Would the insulin be enough to equate the same amount of insulin that 20 grams of carbs would do as part of a keto lifestyle?
No, that's an excellent question. We know that it raises insulin, but there's multiple things here to consider. First of all, if anybody out there listening is using artificial sweeteners or keto-approved sweeteners, and you're losing weight and you're doing fine, keep doing what you're doing. It's fine. I'm not saying to stop that. My point is when you stall in your fat loss, you got to go back and look at your diet again. And if one of the things you're doing is a lot of stevia or a lot of monk fruit extract, then you may be one of those people that's very sensitive to the sweet taste in your mouth. It may be bumping your insulin enough to turn off fat burning. And so you may need to get the sweeteners out of your mouth. But we know that's more of that research that needs to be done that nobody's doing because you can't get $1 billion pill patent out of that. So nobody wants to do that research. But I think as you guys continue to rebel and share this message and turn your neighbors on to keto and turn your mama and your daddy and your Uncle Henry on to keto, eventually I think researchers are going to start researching real things like this. Because I think the market for, the $1 billion pills is just going to kind of evaporate. Nobody's going to want to take all those pills anymore because they're going to feel so much better on keto. Then the researchers will have time to start researching questions just like yours, which is a very valid question.
Somebody asked, are you working with a keto coach program? No.
No.
No, I don't know where you saw that, but no. We do not endorse any
If
keto
somebody
coach
said that we've
programs.
endorsed their program or work with
No.
them, no,
No.
that's not true.
You can talk about keto from a personal, just like Jordan and Jessica Link and
Yeah.
us without having, whatever.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, do that, but we don't.
We have lots of friends in the keto community who do coach, and I'm not against that,
Yeah.
but we don't endorse anybody
Yeah,
as
we don't personally say
yeah.
you should go to this. No, we don't do that.
we don't
But
do that.
do it. I
Yeah.
don't care.
Find somebody that's your people. Find your people and hang out with them because you'll identify with what they say.
Okay. Natalie said, did I hear correctly on a previous video that you would be doing a signing in Little Rock? So if you'll go to this page this video is on and click on the events, everything he is doing, I've made events for all of the book signings. So you can look up the date and the time and the location. And yes, he will be in Little Rock, Atlanta, Pensacola, Louisville, Kentucky, and we're working on some in Tennessee, obviously. You are so cute. They're exhausted. They're just like...
Yeah. They've been at the beach all day. It's so funny to watch them.
So thankful for y'all and the common sense approach to good health. Thank you, Donna.
Well, thank you so much. We love doing it.
What should a fasting glucose be? If over 6, does that indicate insulin resistance?
Oh, wait. They're doing the European.
Hold that. We have to
do the
calculate.
math. So that's going to be 108. Yeah, if it's over 6, then you might have some insulin, and that's fasting. Then you might have some insulin resistance. You might even have some pre-diabetes. And so if you've got a fasting glucose and you're measuring it the European way and it's higher than 6, you need to go see your doctor and get an A1C and a C-peptide and a fasting insulin. And then you'll know, are you insulin resistant or are you pre-diabetic or even type 2 diabetic? Yeah, good question. I had to do the math.
Emily says, I'm 8 weeks pregnant and finding it harder and harder to stomach keto food suggestions. Girl, same.
Talk.
My first trimester, it was rough, especially meat. I had a huge aversion to meat. The easiest thing that I tolerated was my chicken nuggets. I have a YouTube video. It's keto chicken nuggets. It's half almond flour, half pork panko, salt, pepper seasonings, and you deep fry them, and they taste just like regular chicken nuggets.
They're delicious,
and
yeah.
that's basically what I lived off of.
Yeah,
and
for a few weeks there, I made those for her every night.
yeah, I just could not eat what I was used to eating, which was...
And it was really bad. I couldn't even cook meat in the
I couldn't
house.
smell it. It was
or it
awful.
would gross her out and make her have nausea. And so
Yeah.
I would have to go outside and grill.
Yeah, so
And then
just
take a shower
Try really hard.
and stay in the basement.
Don't beat yourself up because actually the first trimester your body's a little more forgiving about that stuff anyways.
Yeah.
And I would, if you haven't already bought it, you should read Real Food Pregnancy by
Lily Nichols.
I don't know why I couldn't remember her name.
She's a registered dietitian. I think it's L-I-L-I or L-I-L-Y.
I'm not sure. It's I'll link it.
Lily
after
Nichols
this, but,
and Real Food Pregnancy.
Yeah.
And so what you're going to do if you're pregnant is you're going to just do the best you can. Try to eat real food. And so I would much rather you eat blueberries, right?
I ate a lot of berries. In
Yeah,
the
eat
first
your
trimester,
berries, and that's
which
fine
are
because-
carby, but they were better than
Right, but-
milkshakes and
Right. As Lily Nichols says, you're much more insulin sensitive your first trimester. And so you're not going to have the terrible ramifications if you eat more carbs. But just make sure they're real unprocessed food and try to keep the carbs as low as you can.
Also, Keto Chow makes really good shakes.
Yeah,
And
if that's the
they're
best you can do.
sweet.
Yep.
And so if you have a sweet tooth, like those shakes saved me while I was in Denver, because the Keto Chow they're just nice people, and they would make me cookies and cream keto shakes, and that's what I would eat for the first half of the day, but until I could try and stomach a hamburger later, hamburger no bun, and but don't beat yourself up, because
just do the best you
rough,
can. Keep the carbs as low as you can, but you gotta eat something.
And she says 175 or below. He wants me to stay below 75.
Under 100 total. Yeah, if you can stay under 100 grams.
The first trimester, I was eating so many berries. I'm sure I was over that, but I was at least eating real food.
Real food. That's right. Exactly.
Do you know if eating keto helps with depression and or learning issues such as dyslexia and ADD?
Absolutely. Now, I'm not saying it's going to cure any of those things, but I've had multiple patients at the Berry Clinic be able to wean down and stop their depression medication, their anxiety medication, wean down their ADD medication. I've had people with OCD and all kinds of psychiatric diagnoses be able to decrease their medications. Then obviously if you have a seizure disorder or Parkinson's or any of that kind of stuff, or even Alzheimer's, it's going to get better as you cut the carbohydrates out of your diet. You may not cure it, but you're going to slow down the progression, and you're not going to have the severe symptoms that you were having back when you were eating all the garbage.
You can get keto shakes on Amazon. We have them linked everywhere. But you can just literally Google Keto Chow and it'll pop up. I think their direct website is ketochow.xyz.
Yeah, that's right. But you can also get them on Amazon.
But they have a bundle that I would suggest getting, because it comes with a sample of all the different flavors and a shaker bottle too. It's a really good deal.
Yep. And if you're pregnant, or if you, for whatever reason, you just cannot eat real food,
or if you have a person in your life that's an elderly person,
right, or a little one who's got severe ADD or autism or Tourette's or something like that, and you just can't make them eat keto, Keto Chow is a great alternative.
Saw that.
What did I do?
Do not, for the love of God, give your grandmother Ensure or any of that crap. If you're going to need to do that, give them Keto Chow, because it's a great alternative, because it's got the calories, it's got the fat, it's got the protein, it's got all the things. It's sweet, so they're going to like it probably. And it's like, do not. Oh, those things are awful.
I'm gonna get on a little rant here for a second. I saw a product today that pissed me off to no end. It's called Pediasure. And Ensure now has, for kids, if you're worried that your kid's not growing enough, they have Pediasure. And it's like, oh, this will help your child grow. And I wanted to put at the end of it, grow obese. It had 33 grams of carbs per little, 4 or 6 ounce serving. One serving. So, you shouldn't eat 33 grams as an adult your entire day. Your kid's going to drink that in one little, it's just, and I looked at the ingredients. Sugar, corn syrup, soybean oil, canola oil. Literally, like every single thing we say don't put in a human being's mouth was in this Pediasure. And I was just like, I'm going to do an IG post or a YouTube video or something, because that's ridiculous. Nobody should give their child Pediasure. I don't even know what to say about that. So if you have a kid who's picky, won't eat anything, and you're afraid they're not getting enough nutrition, get them some Keto Chow, because it actually has good fat and protein in it, and it's not full of corn oil, soybean oil, and sugar.
Yeah, Pediasure is not new. It's been around a long time.
I have never seen an ad for it before. I was like, what? And so I Googled it, looked it up, and I was like,
Somebody said they want to see the bump. Don't laugh at my outfit, because I'm wearing a dress, but then I was cold, so I have a shirt over the dress. So hang on,
Baby Berry.
I don't know if you can see that. It's not really. There's not a lot.
Just a little bump.
It's a little bump. See, you can't even I can poke it out and make it look bigger than it is, but it's not. So yeah, that's what I'm dealing with right now.
That's it. It's more noticeable in a bikini, though.
Well, the pooch is noticeable, but it's not like, oh, she's so cute and pregnant. No.
I think that, but you think nobody else
No
does?
one knows. They're like, is she pregnant or does she eat a burrito? I don't know.
I guess.
Whew. Where did my?
You can get the Keto Chow. They have shakes, and they also make the electrolyte drops we talk about. You can buy them on Amazon, but they also have a website. I think it's KetoChowXYZ.
Yeah.
But either way, you can check it out and try it. But I'd much prefer you eat real food. But if you can't, or you have a loved one who just can't, then Keto Chow is it's much better than Ensure or Pediasure.
I feel like it's the perfect thing for older people because it's just so hard, especially if you have a nursing home, mom or dad, you can give that to the nurses and it's easy for them to make that. I made way harder cocktails at my med card than a Keto Chow shake.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have a good nurse, she will make that.
Yeah, and that's an excellent option if you have an elderly family member who's starting to get dementia.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy, okay, yeah. So the girls bought this. It's a shark, and he ate a leg, but then you squeeze him, and he's like, eh. That's funny, right?
Anyways, so
Rhett Butler's not amused by that. So.
Rhett Butler doesn't care. Okay. There's not a specific Keto Chow made for kids. We're just saying it's a good alternative.
Yeah. No, it's
just the Keto Chow.
It's fat and protein. That's what your kid needs. That's also what your grandma needs.
Okay, so everybody's really tore up about the avocados and the carbs. Can you talk about that?
Let's talk about it, yeah. And so, as I always say, if you are eating low carb or keto and you're doing fine, you're losing weight, and avocados are a big part of your diet, keep doing what you're doing. But the average avocados have anywhere from 15 to 20 grams of total carbs. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You can Google that. Now, they don't have that many net carbs. And so that's why I say if you're losing fat and you're doing well, everything's going the way you want it to go, keep doing what you're doing. Keep eating your avocados. I don't think they're bad at all. But if you're stalled out and you can't lose more fat and you're eating 3 avocados a day, that may be what it is. You're eating too many total carbs. And so a big fat avocado has as many total carbs as an orange, as a navel orange. But obviously the orange has way more sugar grams, right, than an avocado. Avocado's got a lot of fiber. There's no doubt about that. But if you're stalled out, total carbs is what you have to count. Sorry.
How is an orange different carb-wise? Isn't it? It's the same.
It has the same amount of total carbs, but
it's
of those,
not going to spike. Like orange is going to spike it, and avocado's not going to.
That's right, because first of all, avocado's got a lot of fat in it, and that's going to tamp down the sugar spike and the insulin spike because it's not going to. The sugar doesn't hit you as fast. Also, it has a lot more fiber than an orange, and an infinite more amount of fiber than an orange juice. So if you're got to choose between a banana or an orange or an avocado, eat the damn avocado every time, no doubt about it. And if you're losing weight and using avocados as part of your diet, then keep doing it. It's fine. But if you stall, go back and count total carbs, and you'll quickly see one big fat avocado, and that's your day's supply of carbs. But I'm not anti-avocado. I promise I'm not. I freaking love them. That's what I said on my Instagram post. On my story, I love avocados, but they're too carby for me. Remember, I said for me. That doesn't mean they're too carby for you, but they may be. If you're stalled out and you're not losing fat, then that may be the hang-up.
What do you feed Rhett Butler? He eats what we eat most of the time, and then we have a grain-free, no additives, no preservatives, kibble that he gets just like in between. But he barely even touches that because he eats like hamburger or bacon or steak or whatever. Like
last night he had barbecue.
Yeah, he gets whatever, and Toto too. He gets, but Toto we have to be a little more careful with because he has a little GI issue and he likes to vomit. He
was a rescue dog, Toto Berry, and so he grew up eating loaf bread and Cheetos, just junk. And so that's, for the first, 3 years of his life, that's all he ate. And so it's been a very slow transition for him to be able to eat meat and stuff. And now he's fine because he hasn't thrown up a single time down here.
No.
And he's been eating tons of ribs and barbecue. And so he's getting better at it, but it just took him quite a while because he was so used to eating crap.
My baby, I know.
I'll do this again. That's so funny.
That's what Toto does when he eats too much grease. Would you recommend carnivore if you are stalled?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm working on a YouTube video about this right now, but that's the ultimate. So the ketogenic way of eating is low carb, right? That's why it works. And so if you've made it to a certain point in your fat loss journey and you're stuck, then you got to cut the carbs more. And a lot of people go from 50 grams a day total down to 20 grams a day total. And that works for a while, then they stall. And so more and more people are finding that if they just go super low carb, ultra low carb, effectively zero carb, but there are a few grams of carbs. There's 1 gram of carb in an egg. A big serving of any meat's going to have 1 gram of carbs in it just because of the glycogen, but it's essentially zero carb. And so you're just basically dialing down the carbs. That's what you're doing. And so if however many carbs a day you're eating right now, if you're losing weight, keep doing that. That's perfect. But when you stall, you dial down the carbs. And if you keep dialing them down to as low as you can get them, that winds up being carnivore. And a lot of people are not just noticing fat loss, they're noticing that other medical conditions like irritable bowel, depression, psoriasis, eczema, it got better with keto, but it goes away with carnivore. It's almost magic. And for me personally, my heartburn, I had severe heartburn. It got about 80% better with keto. No doubt it helped it. But on carnivore, it's gone. I haven't had a heartburn in over a year. And if you have severe daily heartburn, you know that's a miraculous thing to have no heartburn. It's really awesome.
Somebody asked if you eat beef ribs or pork ribs or both.
I eat both. I prefer juicy, fatty beef ribs, but
they're hard to come by
often you
around
can't
us.
find them. We have to and so pork ribs, that's the third kind of pork that I like that I eat is pork belly, bacon, and pork ribs. Yeah.
And the sauce we use, we like Alterna Sweets, has a good barbecue sauce. A lot of people like the sugar-free, what is it called? You can get it at Walmart. What is it called?
I can't remember.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. But we prefer, we have a barbecue place in Nashville, and they make all their barbecue sauce in-house, and they have a vinegar-based barbecue sauce, and it's like 2 grams of carbs or something. So it's really, really low carb, and it's more vinegar than anything, and that's kind of the style of the barbecue sauce that we like.
Yeah. And I've been eating my ribs for months with no sauce.
Dry.
Yeah, I eat them dry. I
but
love
I
them.
like sauce. I'm a saucy person.
I like a little dry rub and then some salt, but that's it. That's all I eat on my ribs, and I freaking love them.
What made you go keto? Well, I don't think we've talked about this in a while. Yeah.
The reason I went keto was because I was a fat pre-diabetic doctor.
You went paleo.
Yeah, and so I knew something wasn't right. And so my first step towards where I'm at today was I started paleo, primal, ancestral, right? And so still lots of carbs, but they were more whole food, real food carbs. And I think the glucose in that kind of food is released slower. And you also get other vitamins and minerals. And that helped a little bit, but then I kept looking. I went low carb. That helped a little more. Then when I went keto, that really got me down to close to my ideal body weight. And so then when I dial down the carbs even more, I'm now carnivore and feel great and do great. And my weight stays almost right where I want it. I'd like to lose another 5 or 10, but.
I went keto because I have Hashimoto's. And then I got mono. And so I thought I'll give it a try and see if it helps me recover from mono fast, because I was working and I needed to get back to work, and usually you're out for 6 weeks with mono.
And in the past, you'd been down for 6 weeks with mono. Yeah.
So I did it for a week and I lost 5 pounds, and I was back at work in a week and a half from mono. And then I started having energy, and like my brain fog was gone. I started seeing all these benefits, and I was like,
your Hashi symptoms are getting better.
damn it, my husband's right. That's unfortunate, because usually I'm the right one.
But she's a good woman. She'll admit it if I'm right.
And
when
then
that happens rarely.
I went carnivore for our IVF treatment, because that's what the specialist that we're friends with out of New York, Dr. Kiltz, he recommends carnivore. He calls it the baby diet. It's bacon, eggs, beef, butter,
and ice cream. It's a zero carb ice cream full of fat.
And so I did that, and our first round of IVF worked, and that almost never happens.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Yep. And so Nisha's Hashimoto symptoms, like literally before she was keto, she would get up out of bed and go get on the couch.
Yeah, bed to couch.
Bed to couch.
And not like work in the couch, like lay down, don't do anything,
Yep.
stare at the Netflix screen.
Yep. And I kept gently saying, I wonder
I don't know how gently you said it.
I wonder if keto would help you feel better. I don't know.
He also said paleo would help me feel better, and that didn't help jack.
Yeah. And I think paleo does help some people, but not everybody, because it's still too many carbs.
So because I'd had such a no experience at all with paleo, I was like, if paleo didn't work, then why would keto work? But they're completely different, and obviously it did work.
Yeah.
So.
If you just imagine that there's a knob for carbohydrates in your diet, paleo, keto, carnivore. Yeah, and so you just keep cranking down the carbs
meat
until
heavy keto.
Yeah, or meat heavy keto. There's an infinite number of ways you can do this, but you just got to find the total carbs per day that works for your biochemistry.
Personal thing. You have to do your own research. No one, you can't. I don't care how many apps there are.
Yeah.
You have to put in the work and do the research and do your own experimentation, because an app cannot tell you. It can only guesstimate.
Yeah. There are some teenagers in the world who can eat 150 grams carbs a day, junk carbs, and have a six-pack. There are 50-year-olds who have to eat essentially 0 grams of carbs a day in order to get close to having a six-pack. And so it varies from person to person, and you got to find the carb count that's right for you. And so don't worry too much about hitting a protein macro or hitting a fat macro. Really just focus on cranking down the carbohydrate knob until you start getting the results you're looking for. And then there's your diet. That's it.
How do you do meat heavy keto? So what that means is that you mostly eat animal byproducts, and then you sprinkle in like Brussels sprouts once a week or some spinach like twice a week. It's not with every meal. It's almost not every day.
So
it's not a real thing. We just made it up.
We made it up. Yeah. So like if you've got a plate, 3/4 of your plate would be fatty meat and 1/4 of your plate would be veg.
Like once a week.
Yeah.
Or twice a week.
Yeah.
Very, very, it's just like, I would say 80% of your diet is animal or animal products.
Right.
And then the 20% is fruits and vegetables, if you even eat fruits.
Yeah, and I would try to stick to dark green carbs, leafy.
Yeah. Brussels.
Yep. Absolutely. But some people can do a veg heavy keto, and they do fine, but not me. I can't.
I thought I was fine doing veg heavy until I did carnivore, and then I realized how much better I felt when I wasn't on veggies. Even though I like the taste of veggies, I can't deny that I felt better.
Yeah, and so many people, and it's a human concept. You get used to where you're at, and so if you feel like crap every day, that's normal. You don't really realize that you feel like crap until you feel better, and you're like, holy crap, I felt like crap. Now I feel better. And so a lot of people don't realize how bad they feel on paleo or on low carb or primal or ancestral until they start cranking down the carbs. And the more you crank the carbs down, the better you feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it okay to eat moose meat and deer meat?
Heck yeah.
If you have diabetes.
Oh my gosh, yes. Any ruminant meat, you can eat as much as you want.
Fresh, and you've killed it too, like
That's
even
right,
better.
yeah. And
or you know somebody that killed
the
it.
domestic ruminants are cows and sheep and goats, right? But there are all these wild ruminants, deer, moose, antelope, caribou, reindeer. All those things are excellent food for human beings.
Do you eat heavy cream on carnivore?
A little.
Moderate.
Yeah, like on the weekends, I'll have a splash. I'm on vacation, so I got some heavy cream.
Not moderate, minimally.
Yeah, minimally. But typically, on a day-to-day basis, the only thing that goes in my coffee is a teaspoon of grass-fed butter, or ghee, and a big pinch of salt, and that's it. Because if heavy cream has a little bit of carb and it has a little bit of protein, and so if I use the heavy cream too much, I'll start to get a belly, and that's not okay.
I ate too much.
Oh, baby berry.
But yeah, you can have it. It's up to you. It's an animal product, so it's carnivore.
And so if you're doing carnivore and using lots of heavy cream and you're not losing fat, then you probably need to crank down the heavy cream, because it does have a few tenths of a point of carbohydrates in each serving.
Not the Christmas reindeer. Not Santa's reindeer.
No, not Santa's reindeer. That's against the law. But other reindeer you can eat if you live in Siberia.
I do not chug heavy cream. He used to.
I used to chug it. Yeah, I would put this much coffee and this much heavy cream.
I actually hate dairy, liquid dairy. Even as a kid, like my grandparents would try to get me to drink milk, and I was like, ew.
Yeah.
I would drink
I used
water.
to drink a gallon
I
of milk
used to
a day.
beg the lunch ladies at school to give me a glass of water because I didn't want the milk. And they were like, white milk or chocolate milk? And I was like, water! And they wouldn't give it to me. I had to bring my own water to school.
Because you would die if you didn't drink your milk.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in high school, I was a football player, and I would drink a gallon of milk a day because I thought it was really good for me. And all it was really doing for me was giving me chronic, severe allergic rhinitis and dandruff and acne. That's what it was doing for
But
me.
he did used to chug heavy cream when we
Oh,
first
yeah.
started keto.
Oh yeah,
he
early
would,
in
like,
my
do nuts and then put heavy cream and make like a cereal.
Yep. Yeah, I would put all kinds of nuts and seeds and then pour heavy cream over it and put a bunch of stevia. And that's freaking divinely delicious. But that's too many carbs for me. And it worked for a while, but then I stalled out. And that's why I'm telling you, if what you're doing is working, carry on and enjoy. But when it stops working, that's when you dial down the carbs some more.
Do you want to talk about... I just had a brain fart. Hang on. Let me get it back.
I thought I smelled something.
Egg fast. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, we can talk about the egg fast. And so basically eggs are just protein and fat.
A little carb.
That's what they are. There's a tiny bit of carb in there, but not much at all. And so I think if you wanted to do a week or even a month of eating nothing but eggs,
If you want to.
then that's carnivore. That's just a special brand of carnivore.
But it sounds boring to me.
I would probably get bored with that. Yeah.
I would do carnivore and then like you could have eggs on carnivore, but then also if you're like, this is boring, I want a steak, you can have a steak, you know? I
But-
don't know. I don't
yeah.
think there's any benefits to just eating
Yeah, that's right.
eggs.
There's nothing magical about that. And so you could just as easily do eggs, ribeye, butter, and ground beef. And that would
And
be
bone
just
broth.
and bone broth. That'd be just as good. That'd be just
think
as
that
good
would
of
be
and do
great.
that for a month. You'd be much lower chance of getting bored, and then you'd have all the good nutrition and.
Wait. I want to hit you in the
gotta
face.
you gotta get
That's
it.
what I
You
did
gotta-
when I was doing my IVF. That's what I did. Beef, eggs, bacon, butter, and ice cream, and bone broth. Gotcha. So, yeah. Do you use MCT oil? Not like we used to.
I used to put it in every cup of coffee a couple of years ago, but I don't anymore.
There's nothing wrong with it. We
yeah.
just have moved. We use more animal-based fats than we do plant-based fats.
And honestly, I believe that animal fats are less inflammatory and better for you. I'm not saying that coconut oil is bad or MCT oil is bad or that avocado is bad oil, but I think, at least for me, bacon grease and butter are less inflammatory.
And we've just learned a lot from a lot of the things that we go to that we talk about with you guys because we want to give you the information because like Berry Method is that this is a process and you may start off doing it a little dirty and a little lazy and by the time you reach 3, 4, 5 years into it you're doing stuff that you thought was fine but you're not doing it anymore because you've learned that actually affects you now and that's basically what we are doing here. We've learned that all the plants may not want us to eat them. It may cause inflammation, and that's just something that we personally are experimenting.
That may be for everybody, or that may just be for some of us. And for me, definitely, if I eat too many plants, I'll start to bloat and gain weight and get inflamed. And I just do better not eating many plants
And
at
we
all.
don't really miss it because it wasn't like
Really
MCT
don't.
oil, yum, like.
There's nothing magic about any fat. You just got to find the fats that work for you and then use them as part of a real whole food diet.
Right. And we don't use sweeteners as much either, but when we first started, we used them every day. But now we barely use them.
I used to own stock in the stevia company because I used so much of it. But now I maybe use stevia in my coffee one day a week,
If that.
every other week or something. Just when I think of it, like, I hadn't done that in a while.
Yeah.
But on a daily basis, I
Or
never
if we
put
have a
sweetener.
treat and we're like making our own whipped cream,
right.
then we sweeten it with stevia drops or, like berries and cream, that kind of thing. But
Yep,
every day,
No, don't do it. Yeah.
nope.
Let's do one or two more good ones.
Whew. I'm so full. I ate wings and oysters. Does it matter what kind of bone broth? Beef, chicken, etc.?
It's probably better to use ruminant bones, but I think it's fine to use chicken bones, pork bones, beef bones, use them all. And also, a lot of people are starting, like if they boil eggs through the week, they'll put the eggshells in the bone broth too. But obviously, wash the eggshells before you crack them. But then you can throw that in there too. There's a ton of collagen and nutrition in the eggshells.
That's true.
Yeah, and so there's all these things you can put in your bone broth to make it magic. But most people like it best, and I think it's probably best if you use mostly beef. But you can use that other stuff too, absolutely.
Also, I want to point out that you don't actually have to drink bulletproof coffee to be keto.
That's
Like
right.
that's not a requirement. If you
That's
don't
true.
like coffee, you don't have to do
That's right.
that.
You can, and so the whole point of bulletproof coffee is to keep your insulin level low and to fast into the day. And so if you can do that just drinking water, then drink water.
Or
It's fine.
tea.
Or tea, ice, unsweet tea, or hot tea. Any of that stuff is fine. You don't have to do bulletproof coffee, and I don't even
Or
like
you can
calling
just
it
drink water and eat like a cheese fat bomb. Because we prefer to use unsweetened fat bombs because the sweet fat bombs are kind of like a trigger for some people if they have a carb addiction. So cheese is fat, butter is fat. You don't have to actually make a fat bomb. You can just use nature's fat bomb, which is butter.
Yep, that's it.
How do you do carnivore at a restaurant? That's like the easiest place to
Easy,
eat carnivore.
yeah.
Just
And so
order a ribeye.
yesterday we went out to dinner, and I had a filet because all the other choice was a sirloin, and I don't really like sirloin. So I had a filet, and then I had some peel and eat 'em shrimp. And did I have anything else? That's
What was
it.
yesterday?
Yeah, that's
Where
what I
did
had.
we eat yesterday?
I had a
road.
big fat
Yeah.
filet, and I had some peel and eat shrimp.
And
That
I
was
had
it.
grouper.
And I
a
drank
salad.
unsweetened tea.
But I'm still eating veggies. But you could just you could get double grouper or
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of times if I go to fast food, like I trust the beef at Wendy's and Burger King and Whataburger and Five Guys.
Five Guys.
Some fast food, I don't know about their burgers, but if they legit have 100% USDA ground beef, then I'll get two bacon double cheeseburgers and just eat the bacon, meat, and cheese.
Yeah, and breakfast is easy, bacon and eggs.
Bacon and eggs. It's so
I mean,
easy.
And you can make frittatas with bacon, eggs, and cheese. Like spice it up.
So many things you
Yeah.
can have on carnivore.
Just get
Yep.
creative. Or get a cookbook.
Yeah. I think Maria Emmerich is working on a carnivore cookbook right now.
There you go.
Be out in a
I'm
few
sure
months.
she has some free recipes on her blog because she usually
bet
puts
you're
out a lot.
You know, what is their blog?
MariaMindBodyHealth.com. It's a mouthful. She's
Is
like,
it
I
Maria
wish-
Mind Body Health?
Yeah.
Maria Mind Body
She
Health.
says I regret making it that because now it's like, this is a lot. But yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Texas Day Brazil is a great place to take somebody if it's like your anniversary
Right, for a
or a
special
birthday
occasion.
or whatever, because like
They're pretty
it's
pricey.
literally all meat.
They're pretty pricey. But
If you'll put your name on their email list for your anniversary and birthday, they'll send you like a $50 off coupon.
Oh, nice. But we have a local restaurant and so you don't have to spend a lot of money on carnivore. That's a common myth. But I'll just get 2 of their hand patted hamburger steaks. And I don't get any of the sides, and so they cut me a deal because I just got basically 2 big fat hamburger patties, and I'll eat a little mustard and some salt on that, and I'm very happy and full. And they saved money because I didn't eat any vegetables, and so they just charged me for the meat.
Doop-a-doop-doop. That's like the 27th person that told us to go to Flaminder's. We're going to go there very soon.
Yeah, we're gonna try it tomorrow. The
Maybe
next time.
tomorrow. One more question. Is it normal to have the trots when first starting out on keto carnivore? Will bowel movements get better? Sorry
Yeah.
for the gross question.
Some people do that, and some people have constipation for the first few days. Basically, what's happening is the gut bacteria that you happen to have when you come to keto or carnivore has to adjust, and your gut bacteria is constantly changing. You're getting more of this one and less of that one every single day. And so there are bacteria that love carbs and love sugar. And so if you're full of those in your gut and you start cutting the carbs, they're not going to be happy with you and they're going to protest. And the way they protest is either diarrhea or constipation. but that's only temporary. It's only going to last for a few days, I promise. And because each day you're going to have more of the keto-loving or the meat-loving bacteria, and you're going to get rid of more and more of the sugar-loving bacteria. And so for most people, if they even have these symptoms at all, they're gone within a week to 14 days.
Somebody said you need to have t-shirts made. I want one. If you'll go to his website, which is kendyberrymd.com, there is a...
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, we have t-shirts.
Hang on, I'll pull it up for you guys so you can see.
Yeah, we have one that says hashtag yes to meat. We have one that says I am keto strong.
It says shop. But I know this is backwards. Forget it. kendyberrymd.com. Click on the shop link and the menu, and it'll take you to the Teespring website, and then there's
we have several different
t-shirts.
varieties of
this
t-shirts.
Is gonna, so you can't really see them on here, but it's like hashtag Team Berry. There's the Caduceus coffee cup. A lot of people really like that. There's a phone cover. That's funny. There's just several things on there for you guys, and we're gonna try and get some stuff designed because we're a little.
Because I want you to be proud of your keto and proud of your low carb and proud of your carnivore, because I think it's impressive that you have made the stand that you're going to feed your body and your family the food that you deserve and that you need and that your body is craving. You should be proud of that, and you should brag about that a little bit. In a t-shirt or a coffee mug, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, so make sure you're following us on YouTube. He has a YouTube, kendyberry.md, and mine's Nisha Loves It. Both of our Instagrams are the same. So if you're not following us on YouTube and Instagram and you're into that, come follow us. If
Come
you're
hang
not,
out with us.
okay, that's
Yeah.
cool.
So we're going to get out of here and go do some more family vacation stuff. Thanks again to our Facebook supporters and our patrons. We love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow night in the private live for supporters and patrons. See you guys next week.